She wasn't nothing but a dealer's. That's all she ever was. What kind of mother would do that to her son? Turn him into a prostitute so you could pretend to be something more than what you are, which is nothing more than a filly. You're a bigger than they're making your son out to be, that's for sure. Because he didn't have no choice. You was down by all.
He says Uncle Will. He says Uncle Will. I know. We need to start right here. That's how we kick this thing.
So what's bothering me is that being a celebrity sometimes comes with, like, everybody wants to be successful in a celebrity and stuff like that, but it comes with, you know, sometimes, and, you know, that's the only thing that I hate about it.
She wasn't nothing but a dealer's. That's all she ever was. What kind of mother do that to her son? Turn him into a prostitute, so you could pretend to be something more than what you are, which is nothing more than a filio. You're a big old, and they're making your son out to bait. That's for sure. 'Cause he didn't have no choice. He was down by all. He says, "Uncle, well, I know we need to start right here. This how we kick this thing off." It's just what's bothering me is that being a celebrity sometimes comes with, like, everybody wants to be successful in a celebrity and stuff like that. But it comes with, sometimes. And that's the only thing that I hate about it. Now wait a damn minute. Did Bryshere Gray just expose Diddy for setting him up to be said by multiple men in jail? Child, y'all better grab a chair for this mess right here because you are about to be gagged. Word on the street is back in 2020 when Bryce was going in and out of jail. Diddy paid some people to also be going in and out of him against his will. And that's when they really turned him out. This makes so much sense because it wasn't long before that when Bryshere set up his OnlyFans account and started spreading his cheeks on camera for a $5 a month subscription from his fans. According to Jaguar Wright, Diddy and Will Smith had already done some damage to Bryce, but the essay that Diddy set up for him to be put through in jail was the final nail in the coffin. Bryce has never been the same. And as if all that isn't bad enough, it turns out his mom knew all about it too, and allowed it all to happen. Now, in case you're wondering why the hell she will allow her son to be put through all of this, it all came down to money. Surprise, surprise. You see, when Bryce was just 17, he was dragged into a mentorship program with Will and Diddy by his manager, Charlie Mack. But baby, no actual mentorship happened during his time there. Diddy was basically supposed to be his music mentor. So, he was going to teach him how to make better music since Bryshere wanted to do rap, and Will would help him sharpen his acting skills since this was around the time he blew up on Empire and was beginning to get other acting gigs. But according to Jaguar Wright, Diddy and Will allegedly turned Bryshere into their personal twink and freaked off with him against his will for years. The actual mentorship that he signed up for became non-existent. Jaguar even claimed that the freak-offs would sometimes get so rough that Bryshere would try running, but they'd catch up to him and bring him right back to continue. Just like what Diddy used to do to Cassie. Jaguar claims one of such instances was Bryshere and McMill were heard running out of Will's house with no clothes on and screaming for help because Will and Jada had them freaking off for hours with no plans of stopping. And considering the fact that Cassie recently admitted to the freak-off sometimes lasting for up to 4 days, these claims sounded believable to a lot of people. They're both by they do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Meek Mill's Bryshere Gray left that house screaming. August the only one that stayed, and I guess he was really sick. He needed doll. Terron Howard made things messier when he also stepped into the chat and seemingly confirmed that the reason why Bryce is the way he is now is because he got played with by Diddy and Will. During a recent interview, he said there were young men that were getting bent over in the industry in the name of mentorships and acting contracts. And that once those men allowed other men to sleep with them, they were never the same. But when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card. What is that? What do you mean by that? You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it. A man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back. Are you saying what I think you're saying? No, I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get that back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got pumped out and out by some over greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. Some people weren't here for Terrence's comments because it had some homophobia undertones to it. But other people said he was right because right after Bryshere got involved with Diddy, and Will was when his life started falling apart. He was basically blackballed and pushed into drowning in substances. In 2020, he got arrested after his wife went running for help at a gas station because he had locked her up in the house and put his hands on her, including strangling her. When the police pulled up to his house to arrest him, he refused to come out of the house. It took hours of negotiations between the SWAT team and Bryshere to get him to come out of the house. But get this, y'all, it has now been speculated that while he was held up in jail, Diddy paid some people off to SA him. Apparently, he wanted to make sure he really broke Bryshere, and having him group as aid by a bunch of men in jail was one of the easiest ways he could make sure he did that. Unfortunately for Bryshere, even after he got out, he wasn't quite free. Because not too long after he was arrested again, after being found guilty for aggravated against a woman he was hooking up with at the time. And when he was locked up, Diddy allegedly had him group sat again for the second time. Around the time the news of this jail SA started going viral on social media, Jaguar appeared in an interview, and this time she was even more angry than she was the first time she spoke about Bryce. She accused Charlie Mack and Bryce's mom, Andrea, of collaborating to sell Bryce off to be used, turned out, and blackballed. And when I say Andy, I'm talking about Bryshere's mom. I'ma kick you in your __, and then I'ma go to work Philly style. You and Charlie, you happy now? He's a gay star. Are you happy now, Andy? For a book that didn't shell, I hope that new husband of yours leaves you. And maybe it's time you tell your son why his father is really in jail, his biological father, for all of his life, and what you had to do with it. You see, do you feel this is that came to me and begged me for my help? I told her to get thee away from Charlie. I did everything that I could do to get Bryshere to help her get Bryshere out of California into Chicago safe to be ready for filming. She knew he had been, she knew what Will did to him. But because of Charlie. See, and Charlie had promised her all kinds of things. And all she had to do was pretend to be a broken-down single mom who worked her way up through the ghetto and raised a superstar for television, when the truth is she wasn't nothing but a dealer's. That's all she ever was. She went from to dealer, and then she snitched on whoever she needed to snitch on till she could get to the bigger bag, until she got with Larry Lair, my friend who raised Bryshere in $1 million home. Your whole book is lies, Andy, and I hope anybody that bought it asked for a refund and demands it comes out of your pocket every time they see your son's game. You and Charlie Mack. Jaguar also claimed that after Cassie filed her lawsuit, Bryshere was also in talks with lawyers to file a lawsuit against Will and Diddy, but he was allegedly, and had to pull back from it because his life was in danger. Jaguar even went as far as claiming that there is a secret tape of Justin Bieber. Well, Jaden, Diddy, and Bryshere having a freak-off, and she is one of the few people who has seen it. They trying to slay him out so he'll feel too embarrassed to file his lawsuit against Diddy for what Will and Diddy did to him. With Jaden and Justin. Present that tape exist? Okay. I really hope none of that baby oil was used on those kids. That would just be a bad taste. Baby oil on babies. You can't say that the flavor camp was sponsored by Johnson & Johnson. Just come on. Come on. Starting to sound that way, ain't it? All that talent. And and she let Charlie tune that boy up knowing that he was bipolar and had ADHD. What kind of mother would do that to her son? Turn him into a prostitute so you could pretend to be something more than what you are, which is nothing more than a fill. You're a big old in there making your son activate. That's for sure. 'Cause he didn't have no choice. You was down by all hey, I'm sorry. The Bryshere conversation for me is not easy because I came to Ballal, and I asked Bale to help me save the kids, and all he was worried about with his book. Now, when it comes down to the exact lawsuit she's talking about, people believe it is the $50 million lawsuit against Diddy and Will, which Bryce was previously reported to be working on. This suit was revealed by a blind item, and it read, I suspect the Sunto step-forward male victim of sex by this A-list mogul will not be the last man to do so. Sean Diddy Combs. During Diddy's recent trial, Jaguar popped out for the first time to advocate for Bryshere. And she said the reason Diddy wasn't caught years ago is because when the feds were looking into R. Kelly, they didn't look into his connections to Diddy as well. She said if they did, they would have caught him back then and saved